Science! Alright, welcome to another edition. This is part 3 of my Knights of the Frozen Throne card reviews. We're going to talk about all the cards that have been released since August 1st. And today is August the 4th, so we got about 20 or so. Maybe not even that much, but we'll try to power through these and not make another hour-long video. But it's tough when you have new cards. There's a lot of things you kind of want to talk about, but it's always very fun to get a chance to kind of muse over what these things might actually do, how good these cards might actually be. So it's a lot of fun for me, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. All right, let's start with a new Paladin card. It's a 1-mana 1/1. It's a common, and it just reads Taunt Divine Shield. So it's a class card, so it's allowed to be slightly stronger than the Argent Squire, which is obviously already a 1-mana 1/1 with Divine Shield. Now you put some taunt on it. Obviously, if they're trying to push us towards building out these Divine Shield Paladin decks, that they've given us a lot of stuff to do so far with. Like, they've given us a weapon that gets buffed every time Divine Shields get popped. Obviously, we've got the new Bolvar that gets buffed every time a Divine Shield pops, and it also has a Divine Shield. Maybe what the deck just needed was enough decent Divine Shield minions. And obviously, a 1/1 with Divine Shield and Taunt is annoying for your opponent to deal with, as they have to spend 2 attacks to get through it, right? So, also, it's cheap enough that you can use it alongside some of these other cards. So the fact that it only costs 1 mana means, you know, it's easy to slot it into any turn going forward. And also, it'd be a fine turn 1 play. If you have especially like buff cards in this deck, this card is pretty nice. The other thing too is a hand buff Paladin, which I actually believe will be a thing. So I think we're going to see a hand buff Paladin come Knights of the Frozen Throne. It might already be somewhat viable just because of the Caverns Below nerf. But yeah, this could be pretty solid. So I think there's going to be something here. One of the things that the hand buff Paladin always just looks for is minions that are just super strong for their mana cost once they've had 1 or 2 buffs, right? And this card obviously fits into that category. So I think there's something here. This card is definitely playable. Decent arena card as well. Looking for decent 1-drops. Obviously, a 1/1 that has Divine Shield is already an okay card. Add some taunts to it. There you go. All right, let's move on to Corpse Widow. 5-mana 4/6. It is a hunter card. It's a rare card, and it reads, your Death Rattle cards cost 2 less. So the 5-slot for hunters is a little tricky anyway. So I think that's one of the best things going for this card is not only is it a beast going into your 5-slot, but it also is a card that actually has some utility, right? It's got some use if you're playing almost any type of hunter. You don't even need to necessarily be playing a strict Death Rattle hunter. There's a lot of good Death Rattle minions already in the hunter deck. So the one thing I can see about this card being a little bit problematic is it might make it easy to dump your hand. And for hunters, card draw has historically been a problem. So if card draw is still a problem, this card might not see as much play. But think about what you see right now in the 5-slot for hunters. You've got Tundra Rhinos, and you've got Tundra Rhinos, and sometimes you see like Stranglethorn Tigers. People were messing around with the Nesting Rock. But it's always kind of been a little bit of a struggle to figure out exactly what cards should go into that 5 spot. For a long time back before the Year of the Mammoth and stuff in the rotation, people were playing like Sludge Belchers in their 5 slot. So this is a card that I could definitely see going in. Obviously, a 5-mana 4/6 body is totally fair, totally fine. 6 health is going to be something that's hard to deal with. If, say, you play this on 5 and then the next turn you're still got this thing alive, you can drop a Savannah Highmane like you would have anyway on turn 6, and you're going to get a hero power. So it's like 2 free damage, right? And you got a 5/6 or a 5-mana 4/6 body that can be buffed with Houndmaster. Seems pretty solid. Seems pretty solid. I think it'll see play. And it'll definitely see play in Arena just because of 5-mana 4/6. People just pick that card anyway. You know, people pick Spiteful Smiths in Mage decks just because a 5-mana 4/6 is an okay body. A Corpse Razor. This is a 5-mana 3/3, and it's a rare card. It's neutral. And it reads, Battlecry, give a friendly minion Death Rattle resummon this minion. So this is a pretty cool card. Already you see, 2 mana Ancestral Spirit being used in specific control shaman decks. The fact that it's neutral means that maybe there's room for other classes to toy with this idea. So if you build a deck full of, big annoying taunt minions and things like that, and then you put Death Rattle, resummon that minion back, suddenly those minions become quite problematic. And a 3-mana 3/3, if you consider the body being worth 3 mana, tacking 2 mana on is essentially tacking the Ancestral Spirit spell onto a 3-mana 3/3. So you get the effect while also putting a body into play. That's pretty strong to be able to do that. So I think this card will definitely see some play. You'll build specific decks around it, and that could be very good. Also, there's some new Death Rattle type mechanics that you can use alongside this card. It doesn't bring whatever you put this on back with N'Zoth, by the way. This is important to note that Infest was a card Hunters had. It didn't make all your creatures on the board suddenly come back with N'Zoth, because it has to be natively on the card for N'Zoth to bring it back. But still, like, there's some cool stuff. There's a Hunter card later on that could be used in conjunction with this. And yeah, like I said, the Bog Champ Shaman deck for a long time people were using. You'd play Earth Elemental and then you'd put Death Rattle, summon it back on it. Now every class kind of has it. It's a little trickier to combo with things because obviously you have to pay 5 for it, but you get the body as well. There's something here. Not too powerful, not completely terrible. All right, we've got ourselves a rogue card, 4 mana, 5/3, Runeforge Haunter. During your turn, your weapon doesn't lose durability. That's a pretty significant effect. It's maybe not significant enough because we still have only seen one new rogue weapon added, and you're paying 4 mana for a weak body. But if you have your weapon up and then you play this and then you get a swing with the weapon, like a free swing with the weapon, that effect might be powerful enough for this card to be okay. It's going to have to be a rogue card that is really relying on weapons and able to draw them effectively. So you're going to see like Deadly Poison and things like that in there, just so that you get. But an extra swing with a 3 attack weapon is pretty significant. So there's definitely some possibilities here, but paying 4 mana for a 5/3 does not feel good. That being said, if you get one swing off of it reliably, one extra swing off of a weapon reliably, that could enable some more aggro type strategies. That could enable some more value-oriented strategies to potentially work just a little bit better. The real key here is this going to be good enough to take a slot out of the 30 cards that go into that deck? Because it might just be it might not be good enough just because 4 mana 5/3 sucks, right? So this is definitely a wait and see card. Okay, we've got 5 mana Priest card. It's a spell. It's rare. Copy 3 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. Well then, this is whatever. It's a milkshake card. Thought Steal is probably still better just because Thought Steal is still better because it's cheaper, right? And you get 2 cards. And Thought Steal is tough to put into Priest decks right now. So the reason why Nourish sees play is Druids don't have a whole bunch of great card draw options. Oftentimes you're drawing cards with one damage wraths and things like that. So, and then of course cheap spells and Gadgets and Auctioneer. But Nourish also has the ability to choose. It has the ability to choose to ramp as well. So it gives you flexibility, right? This card doesn't have that flexibility, but if your deck is built around this type of theme of copying cards from your opponent's deck and putting them in your hand, obviously 5 mana draw 3 will probably go in there. I'll definitely be playing it in my Milkshake deck, which is also a Reno Wild deck, so you only put 1 of each anyway, and this card totally fits fine as a 1 of. But yeah, super fun card. I think it's unlikely to see a high competitive play, but we'll see what direction Priests go in. 8 mana Mage spell. It's an epic. Glacial Mysteries. Put one of each secret from your deck onto the battlefield, or into the battlefield, whatever, into. So obviously if you get 3 secrets all at once, you've got 9 mana worth of stuff for 8 mana. You still had to basically take an entire turn to develop 3 secrets. Now, here's the thing though. It does pull them out of your deck, right? So you're also acting as a deck thinning kind of spell as well, which could potentially be good if you're trying to get to specific combo pieces. I could see this maybe as a one of in a heavy secrets deck, but you're going to have to be running a bunch of secrets. You're going to have to sometimes be able to get 4 secrets out of this, right? Maybe even 5. And that could be broken as hell, because obviously a lot of people thought that that Mysterious Challenger wasn't very good for Paladin, and that turned out to be super broken. That also, for 2 mana less, came with a 6/6 body, and oftentimes put 5 spells in there. So, yeah, you're gonna have to at least get 3 secrets out of this, because right now with Arcanologist and stuff, it's pretty easy to get your secrets out. Yeah, Lynx is suggesting maybe Freeze Mage, but the problem with Freeze Mage is you really only run 2 secrets. You run Ice Block and you run Barrier, so you need to be playing at least 3 secrets in your deck to even consider this card. So I think it's more likely to see play in a heavy secrets deck as just a one of, to just kind of like have a crazy secret power turn at some point later in the game. It's also sometimes going to get played off at Yogg, which will be pretty funny. So, you know, we'll have to see about this one. It feels bad, but it feels like it has potential, right? And I think that it's good that it's costed at 8. If this was like 7 mana or something, it wouldn't see much play. But think about like Greater Arcane Missiles. I think a lot of people looked at that card initially and thought, oh, it's pretty good. And it didn't really ever find much competitive play. You will also find this off of Kabbalah's Tomes and Paveling books and all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be out there in some form or another. We got a Priest Minion. It's epic. It costs 9 mana. Oh, that feels bad. It's got 4 attack and 8 health. It reads Taunt and Lifesteal. And it also has a death rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. Well, that's pretty solid, but it costs 9 mana. It is a solid card, but it costs 9 mana. 9 mana cards are tricky because it's your entire turn. And like a Ysera, you play it, you immediately get a dream card. And even Ysera is tough to find a deck for. I think this will be a very strong arena card for Priest, though, just because its effect is really powerful. I mean, not only are you going to gain some life, you're going to put up a body. But okay, think about Primordial Drake, 8 mana, 4/8 taunt that are also like AoEs down a bunch of little stuff, right? So that card I think is still like way better. Instead of destroying a whole bunch of little dudes, this might destroy one big dude sometimes, and that could be amazing. But I feel like it's tricky to evaluate this as a super good. When you just read the text, you're like, holy crap, that's broken. But then you got to remember that it costs 9 mana. So 9 mana is tough. But it's a significant card to be able to bring back with the what's the one? There's a card, 4 mana. Can't remember what it was called anymore. There's the 4 mana pre-spell that lets you discover a creature that's died already and put it back onto the battlefield. And obviously, if this is in your this is in your graveyard, this would be great to bring back. But yeah, it's a wait and see. If it looks on like face value, this looks so damn good, right? But I think in the actual, like, as the game is playing out, this might not be that sick. Obviously, it's going to be amazing in the mirror match, right, against another priest. But there's a lot of decks that are going to be able to just murder this thing, or sometimes even hex or polymorph or whatever. Its abilities are strong, but it costs 9 mana, so that cannot be ignored. All right, 3 mana. Oh man. Silima, oh my god. Simulacrum? Okay. Hold on. I want Simulacrum? It's not a word that you come across very often, you know what I'm saying? Simulacrum. Where is it?
Simulacrum. Oh.
Simulacrum. 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 All right, fine. Fair enough. Simulacrum. Copy the lowest cost minion in your hand. This card is weirdly worded. It's super weirdly worded. But if you think about it, you could potentially for 3 mana. So basically what you're doing is you're copying the card and then you're putting it in your hand. Like you have it in your hand and you just get another copy of it. So it's like you're faceless manipulating something that's not on the board. It's in your hand. But you don't get to choose which thing it is because it's only going to do the lowest cost thing in your hand, and it's only going to do a minion. It can't be a spell. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about this card. This seems very, very strange. You're going to have to probably have a really, really high value minion in your hand, which means you're going to have to dump the other ones out of your hand to make that the lowest cost minion. So it is asking you to do a lot to get this set up. That being said, there is definitely going to be some combo potential in there somewhere. And this is a card I'm going to have to play with and really feel out how it's going to work. You're never going to see this in Arena because it's going to be absolutely awful. You're going to pay 3 mana to essentially do nothing, right? So yeah. But if you can get an extra really, really high quality, high potency minion, you know, yeah, you can get another Pyros. There you go. That's the thing for sure. But yeah, it's definitely asking you to set up a bunch of stuff and then also play a very specific type of deck. So this is a for sure wait and see card, which I'm really happy that there's so many of these wait and see cards in this set, because a lot of times you can look at a card and go like that's really good and that's really bad. And there's so many of these cards in this particular set that are just like fair, right? Like they don't feel overcosted or undercosted, and they just feel like they're going to do something super special and specific in the deck that they work in, and that's awesome. All right, Lillian Voss is a rogue card, 4 mana, 4/5, so really good stats, obviously. Battle Cry. Replace spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. So this is kind of interesting. If you think about this card, immediately you think that the best use for this is to kind of find ways to fill your hand full of low-cost spells. And there's obviously ways to do that. You can make a whole bunch of coins. You can just steal a bunch of spells from opponents already with other cards with, like, you know, the burglary type effects that we already have in Rogue. And sometimes those cards are going to suck. And maybe here gives you another chance to get another one, right? To replace bad cards with potentially good cards. Also, of course, there's times when you're playing Rogue and you end up with a really crappy hand that's just all preps and counterfeit coins and stuff you can't use. Now you've got an opportunity to potentially turn those cards into useful cards. So there is something in there. It's just going to go in that type of deck, and you're probably going to have to also put in the Burglary Bully and the coin generation type effects that we already have. So I don't know. But it's never going to be a super tempo loss just to play this card, right? Because I mean, it is a 4 mana at its worst. It's a 4 mana 4/5 that goes on the board. So you will probably have to hold off though when you have your really good spells in hand, right? Like you don't want to turn your eviscerates into something. But it gives you a chance to throw away bad cards and get different cards and see, you know. So you'll look for opportunities to basically turn a bad hand into just a better hand, right? And obviously rogues do have the ability to find ways to generate stuff. So, Mimic Pod and things like that gives you extra copies of spells. So I could definitely see something there. Definitely. All right, let's move up the list a little bit. What do we got here? We've got Unwilling Sacrifices, a 3 mana warlock spell. It's rare. Choose a friendly minion, destroy it, and a random enemy minion. there's already a Warlock card. And somebody in chat might have to. It's not a card that sees a lot of play. But basically, the gist of it is 6 mana, discard 2 cards, kill 2 enemies. That card never really saw play. But if you think about its effect, in a discard deck, maybe you could do something there, right? There's like potential for something there, and that I don't even believe that card is not even a standard card anymore, right? Anyway, that aside, Dark Bargain. Thank you, Rajan Nord. So anyway, that aside, what I'm saying is that you've got something like a Shadow Flame here, but to 1 minion, and you can now not own, like with Shadow Flame, you always had to pick up like a big minion to be able to, or a big enough minion to be able to kill the whole rest of the board. Here you could just kill like a 1/1, you know, because it doesn't matter what size your minion is. It matters what size the other guys, or it matters what the other minion is that's on the board that's out there. So if you can generate enough tokens, or you can play things like eggs and stuff like that. We've also seen the Warlock get the 1 mana +2/+2. It's a 1/1 that turns into a 3/3 when you kill your own minion. So, and then we've got the Ravenous Pterodox. Maybe there's some sort of egg zoo, kill your own stuff, and also remove like a big taunt from the other guy's board, right? So 3 mana kill an opponent's minion that's random is probably not good enough. But if you're also getting a benefit from the destroying of your own minion, then maybe there's a specific deck that this kind of works in. But again, that deck is going to have to exist and be okay. This is probably not just good enough to just play an arena, or, you know, there's going to be a lot of times when this can't be played, right? Because the opponent has too many low-cost minions on the board, and then one really big card that you want to kill, and this might or might not do it. So in that position, it's not going to be worth, right? Here's another little fun interaction with this card. Sometimes Yogg's going to cast this card and kill itself, but also kill something else on the other side. But that'll put an end to Yogg, so that'll be kind of funny. I think it's, it's fine. It's a card that does something kind of interesting, totally fairly costed, I think, but going to have to be a specific deck that actually runs that type of card. The Brurlock. Cute. 2 mana 2/2. It's a Murloc. It's a Shaman card. Battle Cry. Freeze an enemy. Okay. You know, we've got these new freeze effect things. And here's another way to get that done. I don't think you play this in like a Murloc deck, but maybe in a Murloc deck you do, just because it's another Murloc that actually does something useful. But of course, Murloc Shaman's going to have to just be good enough for that. But I think it's okay. I think it's statted correctly, and its power is enough. Think about like 6 mana 5/5, the Frost Elemental. That card actually sees play in Arena, because the freezing a specific minion for a turn is actually kind of okay. And then of course with Icebreaker, the new weapon, if you can now have enough ways to freeze minions, and also of course you can freeze a minion, and with Murabi on board, there you go. The Elemental is a 2/1. Yeah, the little Elemental dude is a 1 mana 2/1. So this is obviously a 2 mana 2/2, and you're replacing the Elemental tag with the Murloc tag. But I don't think that's enough of a drawback to, because yeah, you're only getting 1 health for 1 extra mana, right? If you think about it that way. But that's not really like the issue. You'd probably play the Elemental 2 in a deck you're trying to freeze a lot of things, right? So yeah, I think there's definitely something here. But that freeze type Shaman's going to actually have to be good enough. I don't think you just put this into a Murloc deck because it's another Murloc and it freezes stuff. But I could be wrong. Treachery. Choose a friendly minion and give it to your opponent. Oh my. So, yeah, you got to give your opponent, bad minions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. You can guarantee that like a Doomsayer goes off, I guess. Pit Lord, no, because the Pit Lord it's the battle cry is still going to happen to you. So that doesn't do anything. But what's the one card? Hold on. Unlicensed Apothecary. There you go. Let's see if we can pull that in there. Unlicensed Apothecary. Oh, crap. Well, that screwed it up. 3 mana, 5/5. Whenever you summon a minion, deal 5 damage to your hero. Sure, maybe you could do this, and then you could play Leroy. You could bomb squad something, and then give him the bomb squad. I mean, it still feels like these are all really edge cases that aren't going to happen very often. Yeah, see, you guys are all kind of coming up with the same type of stuff, but yeah, it's just, man, it seems like there's not enough minions that really do something terrible for your opponent. So this is tough. Like, I think I'd probably rather just play a Doomsayer than play a Doomsayer and then treachery my Doomsayer to make sure it goes off. You know, so we'll have to see. There's going to have to be some more minions out there that do something really terrible. So right now I'm going to say pass most of the time. But, yeah. Okay, Valeera the Hollow. This is the Rogue card, and this card is pretty interesting. 9 mana, 5 armor, which is pretty much standard at this point for the hero cards. Battlecry gains stealth until your next turn. So this is kind of cool. I mean, getting stealth means essentially you're immune for the turn, but it's more rogue-like to be stealthy. Although technically you're not like 100% immune. Random damage effects can hit you. All right, so you know, in WoW, the Ragnaros could still shoot you. Obviously, like a quest warrior could still shoot you in the face with random effects. So it's not the same as actual immunity. Immunity means you just can't take damage, right? But it's all the same level, right? At its heart, it's kind of doing the same thing. But that's not really what matters here. It's very expensive. What matters here is the hero power you get. So now you get a passive hero power, which is, I think, the first time I've ever seen this. Well, we've seen it in PvE content, right? We've seen it in adventures. During your turn, add a shadow reflection to your hand. Now, what the hell is a shadow reflection? Does it show us? Well, okay. I could just tell you what a shadow reflection is. It's basically, whenever you play a card, it goes into your hand at the beginning of your turn. Then whenever you play a card, you get another copy of that card. And then you have to play that card before your turn ends, because by the end of your turn, the shadow reflection leaves. So the other thing that we need to know about this is you get 1 per turn, and if you don't play that shadow reflection, then it just goes away. So you're only going to get copies that you can play of cards that cost 5 or less. Or it could cost whatever, and then you could then, like, once you get a copy, you could prep the next thing you do, right? So it does give you the opportunity to do stuff like get an extra Cold Blood, or an extra Sinister Strike, or an extra Eviscerate, or an extra whatever damage dealing spell. So if you have 2, then you have 3, kind of. But you don't ever get more than that. So it does give you some combo potential, some interesting finisher kind of things. But again, it's too hard to evaluate how good or bad this effect is, because I need to mess with this. I need to start theory crafting some stuff. Right now, you can think of cool combos, but then are they going to be better than the other cool combos you could already do? And then you got to remember too, it's gonna copy the first card you play that turn. So you can't, like, if there's so if it's Miracle Rogue and you get this effect off, you can't just play Gadget Zan and then get another Gadget Zan to play, because Gadget Zan costs 6 mana. If your Gadget Zan's already on the board, sure. The problem is that if your Gadget Zan was already on the board the turn before when you played the Valeera the Hollow, yeah, that's not going to work either. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Oh yeah, copy's the last thing you play. No, that's right. That's right. Right. So it can keep changing. So that makes sense. You can play gadgets and then you could play eviscerate and then you get another eviscerate. Okay. Sure. So you could do stuff like that. Yeah, you could do stuff like that. Is that good enough though for 9 mana? Because if you could start doing stuff like that, are you already going to be kind of winning the game just by the fact that you're going off? Or do you need to do this 9 mana thing to make that a little bit stronger? I guess that's the question, right? So it definitely feels like there's stuff there, and it's just too hard to evaluate because we've never seen an effect like this. Never ever seen an effect like this. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to call out all these amazing combos you can do, but couldn't you have done that combo anyway most of the time? Like, yeah, okay, I get Malagos, you get 1 extra Sinister Strike, right? And then you could prep an Abyss. Sure. But most of the time, if you got your Malagos down and you had Sinister, Prep, and Abyss and stuff like that, you were going to win anyway. So, I don't know. I don't know if having a card that you play that costs 9 mana when you already have a card that costs 9 mana in Malagos, is that going to be better? Like, I had to take a whole turn just to set that up so I get 1 extra Sinister Strike. That doesn't seem... Seems like there's better ways to go about that, to be honest. All right, we got a Druid card. Oh, yeah, but you win even more. That's a good point. Yep. Look, winning isn't good enough. I want to win as much as I can. The most I possibly can win. All right, this is an interesting card. It's a Druid card, 10 mana, Ultimate Infestation. Deal 5 damage, draw 5 cards, gain 5 armor, summon a 5/5 ghoul. So, yeah, this is another card where, like, face value, this looks insane. And it will be when you can actually play it, but you have to spend 10 mana to play it, which means it's going to happen by, well, sometimes it could happen on turn 7, obviously, because you could ramp into this. I feel like the place this card really does go, though, is a big Druid. Because a big Druid generally gets, to like the high cost stuff, and already is playing a whole bunch of crazy high cost stuff anyway. And sometimes you basically blow your hand getting, like, you ramp with Nourish, you don't draw with it, and you spend all your turns kind of just ramping and getting there, and then you're just kind of out of gas. And every card you draw from that point on is pretty solid and can get you somewhere. So when the one card you play draws you 5 more cards that are all big, crazy, Yashirajas and stuff like this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing is the Big-Eyed Scout turns cards into 5-cost cards. And obviously, if you play this for 5, holy crap. That's insane. That's insane. The other thing that's interesting about this card is that sometimes Yogg is going to cast this card. So, to me, it looks like a one-of in a big Druid. That's where it feels like it goes. And I could totally see that, because there's definitely going to be games that this card just wins the game for you. And a card that could potentially win you a game is definitely worth consideration. The fact that you deal 5 and also summon a ghoul and gain the 5 armor, though, like that gives you enough kind of stall that the 5 cards you draw, you're probably not going to be dead the next turn, right? So, yeah. I think this card will see play in very specific decks. Those decks are going to have to actually be viable, though, if we see this in, like, a tournament. Yeah, I always Bright-Eyed Scout into Innervate, and then I feel real bad. 5 mana to lose 3 mana. Alright, we got ourselves a Paladin card here. 2 mana. It's a rare. Desperate Stand. Give a minion Death Rattle, return this to life with 1 health. So, redemption that you can target for 1 extra mana. And in a Bubble Pally type scenario, things that come back with Divine Shield are obviously pretty decent. I could see this being a deck, in a deck that does run a lot of that stuff. Obviously, you hit this up on a Tyrion, it's pretty sweet. But to be honest, I don't know if I really see this happening. the reason why we ever see redemption at all right now is because we get it off of a 2-mana 2/2 Murloc, and we don't have to put it in our deck, right? So, yeah. This card to me feels pretty lackluster outside of very specific situations. And oftentimes you just won't have Tyrion and this card in the same hand, right? I mean, you could play Tyrion on turn 8 and then or on turn 10 with this card. That might be kind of cool. But even then it's like bringing Tyrion back is kind of cool, but sometimes you bring him back and all you really did was wasted 2 charges of your Ashbringer, right? So yeah, I don't know. Assassinate is a vaporize you can target for 2 more mana. This is only 1 more mana. Oh my god. But 2 more mana for a 3 mana spell. This is 100% more mana, right? That's only 66% more mana. That's totally different. 1 more mana for a 2 mana spell does make a big difference. Look at Execute, right? Just adding 1 more mana does make a difference. So yeah, so you could bring back lots of N'Zoth or lots of Tyrions with N'Zoth because this guy comes back. It works the same. Redemption already works like that. So yeah, you could definitely do that if you have a N'Zoth Paladin. Obviously, you could put this on a Cairn as well, right? Put it on a Cairn. Cairn comes back, then you get 2 Cairns by the time you play N'Zoth. There's definitely stuff in there. And I would actually in standard N'Zoth Paladin generally only runs like the Cairn and the Tyrion and then maybe a couple of other random ones, but not very many. So obviously adding more of those high quality ones could be of use, but it just doesn't feel like it's going to be worth a slot to me, at least yet. All right, we've got a priest card, 2 mana 2/2, common. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1/+1. I feel like priests are going to like this card in Arena. It gives them another 2-drop that actually does stuff, and they can, obviously you can think, oh, I cleric on 1, and then I play this on 2, and now I got a 2/4 cleric. And then on turn 3, I can buff one of those minions +3 health. So there's some definitely interesting things here, and it's an engine. It's a card that's going to have to be killed off, or it's just going to continue to give value. And if you can hit a minion with it, it's essentially a 2 mana 3/3 spread across 2 bodies. So there's definitely something here for a tempo style priest. And if you combine that tempo style with maybe death rattle sticky type minions, then you should likely have minions on the board. The fact that happens at the end of your turn is also pretty strong because at the end of your turn that means it's always going to happen. But a lot of times it's not going to get played on 2. It's not necessarily a 2-drop. It's going to be tough to actually get this off on 2. However, that being said, like when you just look at this card, you think that's good. What it does is good. Now you just have to figure out the deck that it goes in if it's going to see constructed play. Arena play, though, obviously, like any of these types of little card engine or little board engine type cards are obviously pretty good. Yeah, it'd be tough. Like it wouldn't necessarily take the place of Radiant Elemental, but yeah. All right, Skulking Geist, 6 mana 4/6. Those are bad stats. Battlecry, destroy all 1-cost spells in both hands and decks. So remove every 1-cost spell from the game. Okay. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about how this is like the anti-Jade Druid card. And to a certain extent, that might be true. But I don't really think that the way that those games play out, it's not always that they just win because of Jade Idol. A lot of times, by the time that you might destroy the rest of their Jade Idols with this card, and you're paying a tempo loss to play this card in the first place, because you're paying 6 mana for 4/6, and it's going to be terrible in decks that don't rely on 1-cost spells. So, in any other deck that's not Jade Druid, this is not going to be good. So, Can you run a card that's not good? Like against anything else, right? Like can you actually do that? I don't think you can. It just seems like that can't be worth it. That can't be worth it. So I don't think Jade Druids have anything to worry about because I don't think we're gonna be able to play this card just on the off chance that we're running into a lot of Jade Druids. It's just not. I don't know. It's just not. It just doesn't feel like a real thing to me just yet. So I'm just looking at like 1-cost spells out there. And outside of like the Jade thing or the Jade Idol, the rest of them just aren't. I mean, obviously you get rid of Jade Idol and you also get rid of Earthen Scales too, right? So, you know, that's kind of cool. So yeah, so it's not going to be, I think, viable in the way that it's not killing enough decks to be a real counter, right? Now, I'll tell you one thing I am happy about. They didn't give it the crab treatment. They didn't give it the Eater of Secrets treatment, where not only so it's like kind of a bad card on its own, but then if you actually kill a bunch of 1-cost spells, suddenly it's like a 6/8. Thank you for not doing that again, Blizzard, because that's really annoying when you do that, and this is much better. Just give me the tools to counter specific things if I'm running into problems with those things, but don't make it so that I outright win the game because I ran into the deck that I'm trying to counter, right? So, thank you. Thank you. If there's one thing I could say about Skulking Geist that I'm very happy about, is it doesn't get buffed when it also kills 1-cost spells. So the other thing you gotta remember too, it's 1-cost spells, not minions, so it's not gonna like screw over aggro decks or anything like that. It's kind of a weird card, and a lot of people freaked out, like, oh my god, they've gone too far. I really think those people are overreacting. I think that this card is actually unlikely to even see real play. So I think it's unlikely to even see play. A 6-mana 4/6 is not good. And it's going to have to do something really good, and obviously killing Jade Idols is good, but is that deck going to be so strong that you must play this? It's like the fact that it's out there might do something, right? Just the fact that it exists might be something. And that I think is right. That's how they should be handling counter cards. All right, 2 mana. It's a shaman spell, common. Ice fishing. Draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. Well, hell, that's pretty good. Not only do I get 2 cards for 2 mana, I get specific types of cards. All right, then. I mean, if you're playing Murlocs, the options in the past were if you wanted to draw or to pay 2 and overload to draw 2 cards. Now, just for 2 mana, I can draw 2 cards. And I know that they're going to be Murlocs, which is kind of what I probably want, right? Because I'm playing Murlocs. That being said, Murlocs have to actually be good for this to, like, Murloc Shaman has to actually be like a decent card. And like what Finja does, Finja literally puts them onto the board, right? So this doesn't really come close to what that really does. Like, that just wins games. You still have to play the Murlocs, right? So if you're playing your Call in the Finishers or whatever, the Quest Murloc deck, this does make that deck better, right? If you play your Quest Shaman. So obviously, and then there's another Murloc being added. So if there's anything that like pushes that maybe to viability, it's the ability to draw some more Murlocs. So there you go. Could be a thing. It's like it's a fine card, right? It's not crazy good. It's definitely not bad. Drawing 2 cards for 2 mana is not a bad thing. Okay, here's a card that I'm really excited for. 2 mana rogue spell, Roll the Bones. Draw a card. If it has Death Rattle, cast this again. Now that's pretty sweet. Because if I want to play a N'Zoth Rogue, which was always kind of close, I'm going to run a decent amount of spells that are like the good removal rogue type spells. Maybe a couple of non-death rattly minions. But I'll probably run quite a bit of death rattle minions. I think you're going to see this more in wild though currently. I don't know if there's enough death rattles in standard. So someone did the math and you need to run something on the order of 15 death rattle minions to average 2 cards drawn. But averaging 2 cards drawn off of a 2-mana spell is totally fine. That's totally fine. Sometimes I'll get 2, sometimes I'll get 1. I'll always get at least 1, and sometimes I'll get 3 or 4. So if Arcane Intellect is fine to pay 3 mana to draw 2 cards, then definitely paying 2 mana to draw 2 cards is totally fine. Raytheon never quite caught on because I don't think it's possible to run enough dragons, right? And also you're paying 6 mana for a 4/5. Here you're paying 2 like 2 mana is not a lot to cast. It's not a very expensive spell. So yeah, I could see it's going to depend again on is N'Zoth Rogue a good deck or not, because this will definitely help make that deck go, you know. And I also think about this: a lot of the death rattle minions that you play in Rogue anyway just give you gas, right? They give you more stuff. They fill your hand up even more. So this is just like another way to just you'll just never run out of cards. You will always have a full hand of cards when you're playing N'Zoth Rogue, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something there. Again, it's like we have to see if the deck is good enough, but the card is good enough. We got an Acolyte of Agony, 3 mana, 3/3 priest minion, common. It just has lifesteal, so delayed Earthen Ring Farseer without the ability to heal minions, but with the ability to potentially hit twice. I don't know. This to me looks like an arena card that helps you fill out your curve, but I don't think you actually ever put this in a constructed deck. Just heal. Yeah, you can only heal yourself. The thing about Earthen Ring Farseer is you could also heal other stuff, right? So you could get value out of your minions. It's just probably not going to be good enough. But definitely an arena, fine arena card. Totally fine arena card. Not going to be as good as the Cabal, though. You're still going to want that, so. Yeah, probably just, this card's just meh. All right, we're now on to our August 4th cards. Remember, these are all pretty new to me, so I'm not going to have, 100% insights into how good or bad all these cards are. All right, Drakari Defender, 3 mana, 2/8 with Taunt. It has Overload 3. Holy crap. And it's a Shaman card. So 3 mana, 2/8 with Taunt. We've already seen that Death Lord would definitely stop things. It would stop aggro decks in their tracks. That would put a minion onto the opponent's board. So in the end, that card ended up mostly being used for mill type decks and like super control-y decks. So it was okay to put a minion on the board because then you would normally be able to kill it fairly easily. But oh my god, you play this on 3, you don't do anything on turn 4. That's kind of a problem. And the strongest time this card will ever be is going to be turn 3. So I don't know if you can afford to skip turn 4 just so you can play this card on turn 3. I don't think that's good enough. I think you'd still rather play the Spirit Wolves, right? Because Spirit Wolves overloaded you for 2. You got 2 taunts. You essentially got 4/6 worth of stats, and you were completely dead on turn 4. You could at least still totem. Man, you're just skipping turn 4 at this point, right? So yeah, I don't think this card's actually going to be good enough. You're essentially paying 6 mana for a 2/8 with taunt. And if they printed a card that said 6 mana 2/8 with taunt, You would not play it. You would not play it. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can afford to pay 6 mana for this 2/8. I'm not going to do it. You know what? They're not making me, so it's fine. You can print the card all you want. And then like late game, it's a 2/8, and 2/8s aren't going to trade enough. You know what I mean? Coin this Hunter to skip turn 3, then 4 mana 7/7 turn 4. Oh, damn. Maybe. Fallen Son Cleric, 2 mana 2/1. Battlecry, give a friendly minion +1/+1. This is super good arena card. Giving things +1/+1 in arena is always awesome. Shattered Son Cleric was nerfed down to a 3/2 for 3, and it still is totally a highly picked card. A 2 mana 2/1 that makes your 1-drop trade up, like value trade with their 1-drop or whatever, or your 1-drop trade with their 2-drop, and then you still have a body on board. Hell yeah. I love this card in arena. No friggin' way it ever sees play anywhere else. All right. Let's do the Anduin last. All right. Death Speaker, 3 mana 2/4 Battlecry. Give a friendly minion immune this turn. So historically, we haven't seen giving friendly minions immune type cards being viable. There's the bestial whatever in Hunter, 1 mana, give a beast immune, all that kind of stuff. It's essentially acting as a bubble, and a lot of times what you'd see is, you'd see in arena, people would play the little 2 mana 2/2 in Paladin, put the bubble on a guy, and then instantly trade off with it. This it's like a bubble that has to be used right away. But if you get a free value trade, if you essentially kill something with another minion because of this guy, and then you still put a 2/4 body onto the board, sure. Again, just looks like an arena card to me. Not going to see much play anywhere else. Play Dead. 1 mana puppy. It's a Hunter card. It's common. Trigger a friendly minion's death rattle. So we had a Feigned Death, which was 2 mana to trigger all the death rattles. That never really saw play. But maybe for 1 mana? Maybe for 1 mana, this is okay. You only get 1 minion with it, but you have to think about how often this is going to go off, and when it goes off, is it mostly going to be worth more than 1 mana, the effect that you're getting? And yeah, totally. You know what I like, though? I like the idea of cards like this that aren't crazy, but do stuff that you can then build synergy around. And so to me, I look at this card, and a lot of me thinks, too, about Wild. Wild is definitely a place where I could see this, because, you could play your Sylvanas, and then for 1 mana, just make your Sylvanas go off. And that's definitely worth 1 mana to just steal one of the opponent's minions. I mean, hell, that's worth 10 mana. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's something here, but mostly I look at cards like this and I think these just continue to build up the Wild sets, and they don't do as much for Standard for now. But yeah, hell yeah, in Wild I'm gonna make a Death Rattle, Play Dead, Feign Death type Hunter, and I'm gonna have a blast. It's gonna be sweet. All right, it's time. Shadow Reaper Anduin. This is the hero card for Priest. It's 8 mana. It gives you 5 armor, because they all do that. Battlecry, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. So that means your minions, their minions, all minions that have 5 or more attack will all die. So once again, screw you 4 attack, or screw you Priest. We're 4 attack minions. We live. That's gonna be good. Anyway, 8 mana by turn 8, it's gonna be fairly often that you're gonna be able to kill a few high quality minions, I think. So yeah, even just its battle cry is pretty sweet. All right, but let's check out the hero power. Void form, hero power, deal 2 damage after you play a card. Refresh this. So you get refreshable shadow form that you can just get it back multiple times a turn. I've already seen people mess around with Auction Master Beardo and stuff like that in shadow form type priests. So yeah, there's definitely there's some interesting stuff here that can be done, and I think we're going to see this card at least messed around with, whether or not it's like gonna be super good, super broken. I don't think so, but damn. Okay, Raza the Chained, right? Is that the card? Raza the Chained makes your hero power free. So you play Raza, you play a Kazakus Priest, which it wasn't a great deck anyway, but you add this to it. Now suddenly you've got the ability to kind of become you have a finisher. I think it's pretty good, and obviously because you're killing stuff, you know, the turn you play it, like the fact that you're killing things too. If you play Shadow Form with this, you break it. It'll overwrite Void Form, so don't do that. Do not. I repeat, do not. You don't want to overwrite this awesome hero power, because once you have it, yeah, it's pretty good. So this was revealed on the Omni Stone episode today. And I watched the reveal at least. And I do agree with them that I think it is pretty good. I think they were being a little overly enthusiastic because it was their card reveal. So you gotta take that into account. And obviously Kibler loves the Kazakus Priest as well. But just remember, it's their card reveal. When it's everybody who's put out a card and then done their card reveal, they act pretty excited about it. The truth is, it's probably not as good as they were letting on, but that doesn't mean it's not good. I think this is going to be very good. I think it's going to be very good. Oh, and hell yeah, Wild, where you play this and you actually have Reno too. Oh my god, yes, please. The cool thing that I'm seeing right now is that I feel like all of the hero cards are definitely feel like they all do something cool. And so we're not at the quest level. This is they're better than quests in general. I think more of them are going to be viable, and you're going to be able you're going to see more of these heroes than you saw of quests. I don't think it's going to boil down to, oh my god, there's only, damn, we thought there was going to be tons and tons of quests out there, and it's only warriors and rogues, right? I really think that most of these the hero cards, are going to see play in some form or another. The meta is probably going to have to slow down quite a bit for them to be good. But it's a very exciting card. The effect is super cool. And I love all of these cards. I think that they're doing the right thing. They're giving us fair cards. And they're giving us cards that do very specific and very cool things. So we're not seeing a lot of, oh, I guess we better fill out our vanilla minion quota. Oh, we don't have a 5-mana vanilla minion that has a 6/3 stat line. Or 4-mana or whatever, I guess we better print that card. Like, they're kind of going away from that. And now, like, every card has some text, right? And maybe we haven't seen the vanilla cards because they're not going to show them to us until the end. But, yeah. Like, not only does everything have text, but we've got cards that have, 3 lines of text, 4 lines of text, lots and lots of text. So they're starting to get a little bit more creative and give us much cooler things. So thank you, Blizzard, Team 5. You guys are doing fantastic. All right, that's going to do it for this card review. I'm going to stop my recording. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Smash that like button. And if you're watching on Twitch, I'll be right back. And we're actually going to play some Hearthstone now that we've been talking about so much of it. So stick around. I'll be right back.